Hey, how you doing? I'm doing too much at once. Well, whatever. I gotta reply this.
7009 Eastern Terrace North. Assets response stage medical 17009 Eastern Terrace North. Rochester Jennings and dead end. Wonderful.
Gotta reply this email. Yes, it was me at the American Rights Festival in 1991, period. At the time, I was in the Air Force, and I was spending all my money on video equipment, which I didn't make much money back then, period. And it really doesn't show either, because I have a crappy old tube camera in that video, and I really don't know how to use it either, period. What they're referring to is the fact that I had the short Air Force haircut and what we used to call BCG glasses, or BCG stands for birth control glasses, period. They were the military frames. They were very heavy duty, and they looked kind of like Devo glasses, very old fashioned and really ugly, period. I know Ron Fent from working with him on those days, period. He was a nice guy and seemed to be with it when it came to organizing those shows, period. I believe he was also a part of the Omega crew, who did a similar type of show, which actually became the inspiration for the Wakarusa Music Festival, period. And I did not shoot Omega until 1999 and 2000, period. That was when festivals were on their way out, period. At least the local festivals were having a hard go at it. The big festivals were really going like gangbusters, period. The two said Grays or the Sin City, period. The Sin City Disciples were, and Ernie Locke, after Sin City broke up, formed a band called Tenderloin, and two of the brothers, Homestead Grays, joined Tenderloin and became part of that band, period. Well, I sent that. You know what? I also turned off my scanner. I turned it off 2 ways.
There's a 74-year-old female who has fallen and needs help up. Stated she's intoxicated and she's caught up in her walker. She states that she's not injured. Crime Street 31st Terrace South, 31st Street South.
I'm drunk and I can't get up. I'm not really making fun of people's misfortune. That just sounds funny. It reminds me of that commercial. I'm falling and I can't get up. But the fact that they said that she's intoxicated. This reminds me of so many bar jokes. I'm drunk and I can't get up.
Visual and trespass, she was
I remember there's a band called Uncle Tupelo, one of my most favorite bands my whole life. And they had a song about drinking. And I don't know anything about drinking. I've only been drunk once in my life, I think. I don't even know. That's how bad it is. But anyway, they were like, it's this song about drinking. And one of the funniest lines is like, the chorus is, I got drunk and I fell down. But basically it says something like, I keep drinking and drinking until the floor comes up to meet me, or something like that. And it's just hilarious. Because, you know, drunk people don't fall down. They just, gravity just stops working for them. Ask them, they'll tell you. I did not fall. The floor jumped up and hit me. How did I get down here? Who knocked me over? Drunk people that fall on the floor. They get so drunk they fall off the bar stool and hit the floor, and everybody looks at them, and then they get up and they want to fight because they fell. They didn't fall down. Somebody pushed them. Who did that? That's when the beer tender needs to cut them off. Long before that. Alright, I gotta be very, very careful driving around here. Speaking of drunks with no accountability. Let's avoid. Anyway, I just, which I always do, like try to do the first thing when I come in. I'll get my TVU, check the mail, see if there's any messages directed at me, which there usually aren't. And there was one today, and it was a surprise. There's somebody I work with who's a big fan of Homestead Grays and was watching the American Rights Festival stuff I shot back in 1991. See, 91 and 92, I believe, were the 2 years. Oh, maybe I did 93. No, 93 got flooded out. That was the end of ARF. The flood of 93 killed that. The flood of 93 also killed the outhouse. And then the outhouse got reincarnated 1996, 97. And that was the last time ever. Now the outhouse exists as a juice bar. And if you're not familiar with that concept, apparently there's a loophole in the law that if no alcohol is served, then strippers can basically not have to strip because they're not wearing any clothes. Period. I don't know what the alcohol has to do with it. So what they do is you come in there and you pay a cover charge to hang out with usually very young naked women, and then and watch them dance, and then you buy very expensive bottles of juice, and you have to keep buying it, and nobody's allowed to be inebriated at those things. And I guess according to law it's kosher, although they've been trying to shut those down ever since they open them up. I don't know when things changed or how that came about, because it seemed like that happened. That happened when I was in the Air Force. And what, about 91, 92, all of a sudden juice bars started showing up, and never heard of the whole. I'm like, what? Really? That's weird.
Crash Hamlin, non-assault victim. 1002 missed bell, 102 missed bell. Already been assaulted. Officer on the scene, requesting your response.
I don't know what that is. I was gonna finish my thought about the outhouse. I only went there when it was a juice bar once, and that was to do research. Which you can't see me over here doing air quotes on research, but there was a punk rock outfit out of LA known as the Vandals.
Overdose, 2812 South Fuller Avenue. Yeah, 51-year-old female.
And I believe their drummer, I think that's who he is, a drummer named Joe, was running his own record label. And he wanted to make music videos. He was also very much into film, and he also happened to be an attorney as his adult day job. But he really was into film. He could afford the stuff, and to make videos back in the early 2000s, in the 90s, early 2000s, the only way he felt you could do it to get any kind of quality at all was to actually shoot on a 16mm film. Main break with a film camera. And so he contracted with a friend of mine who knew how to do it, because there was a band in Lawrence, Kansas that was a part of this record label. I can't remember the name of his record label. And so their idea for a music video was to go to the old outhouse where they used to play and perform in the outhouse, and they were going to have they weren't going to have it. There was this other guy who used to work for Hallmark, and he storyboarded the whole thing, and he didn't want any other input. I told him, well, what you really need to do is get some people from the outhouse and have them do the mosh pit. And my idea, and this is where the research part comes in, this is where I went into the outhouse when it was a juice bar, was to have the girls dancing, but not totally naked. Have strippers dancing, doing the stripper pole, and then have like punk rockers doing the thing like in the old days, you know, the mosh pit and the dancing and everything, and make it, you know, like look like the old out. Half of the people would be the boogans watching the girls, and the other half of the people would be the punk rockers watching the band. And then have the band kind of, my idea was to have the band walking around in Lawrence and then intersperse it with them walking in a cornfield. People would be like, what? You know, with their instruments, and they'd be playing and singing their instruments and walking downtown Lawrence and then walking in the cornfield. And then eventually it would cut to them walking into the back door of the outhouse, out of the cornfield, and getting on the stage, still playing and singing. And then the camera starts slowly pulling out, revealing the strippers on the poles, and then pulling out and seeing the guys that are obviously there for the strippers, you know, the boogans who could care less about the band, and then seeing all the people from the old days in the outhouse just going crazy watching the band. That was my concept for a music video. And then, but they didn't want to go for that. They didn't like that. And by they, I never talked to the band. I mean, by they, the people who were shooting and producing the video. Matter of fact, they were kind of the one guy was kind of like really adamant that I was to not have any input into it whatsoever, and I'm like, okay, because he wanted it all and the credit. And then I think my concept would have been good, but then when they sent the film back to LA and Joe looked at it, he says, I'm gonna have to go in and add some effects. So he added a little bit of lightning effects on it, and he said, all it is like a band. I don't understand what are they doing in this place. I don't. There's no story to it. It's just like a music video. This is really, really boring. You know, like a performance video. And if I were to do a performance thing, I would rather just see them performing live in front of people. And I'm like, amen. I had been doing this for a while, and I kind of know. Well, on the joke, and then thing of it, make these artsy-fartsy comments. What the hell is going on, But at least if it's visually stimulating, they don't have to. They just be entertained by the mystery of it, I guess.
It's not. The only thing we have is northbound on Bobcat with the white bus.
And then people would tell a funny story about how the all ages punk rock club in Lawrence, Kansas became a juice bar. I keep saying juice bar, but basically it's a stripper joint. I guess there's more money in strippers than in punk rock, because I think it's been a juice bar much longer than it's been a punk rock club. I believe its days as a punk rock club started about 1986 and 86 to 93, and then 97, part of 96 and into 97. So that's not that many years. But man, the legend of that place. Maybe you could do both. Maybe there's slow nights for the strippers and they can do punk rock shows there. I don't know. Maybe those days are over too.
She's used around 113. This is going to be room 129, room 129. Still getting info right now.
What's happening here? There's Popo. People hanging out. Cars in the middle of the road. Maybe they had a little fender bender and the Popo's there to address that.
Does the RP want to be contacted?
Not necessarily.
Talking about legendary music venues. One of the most legendary music venues in the whole United States is right here to the left. The old African American Musicians Union. I'm sure they didn't say, I think they just said it, the Black Musicians Union. And since 1933, it has been continuously operating as, in many ways, as a speakeasy, a real speakeasy, but it's a legal speakeasy now. Musicians would go there after hours. Played the clubs in Kansas City and played the music that was popular. And then they would go there and they would play the music they wanted to play and develop their style and their chops which spread all over the world.
9930,
It's essentially where Bebop was created.
I respond on trash fire 9930 East 36th Street Town. Crashes are Pippin M40 Highway, Quadrant 104, District 50115. More.
Halloween. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and it's 115.
I hear sirens.
Those are available. Going to be a suspicious vehicle in area 14th and Atlantic. RP doesn't want to be contacted. You guys said there's a black SUV, the entrance to the rail yard. If you drove by, that looked like there was the driver and then two people in the back seat. Looked out the windows of her as she drove by. She didn't see anyone in the front passenger seat. She was concerned that maybe they had let someone out and they were prowling cars in the rail yard lot.
Popo heading south. I think this is a dead end.
Okay.
I'm over here by them.
NCPD called it in, stated that there is a dumpster on fire close to the building. Cross Street to Pippin at 40 Highway, Quadrant 104 to 50117.
Maybe somebody confirm what was one is one.
10-3.
Yeah, I can't turn right. That goes into the... I can't go straight. And I didn't want to go left. Well, maybe I can go Ralph.
Yeah, clear and stop. 40.
And you're at 115.
There's the curb. And drive like you're sober.
Alright, I'm ready. And then I'll put
17, show me clear. Dispatch copy.
I already drank all my water. Need more water.
Yeah, we're 7.
19.
Thinking every young, but what happens to the kids over here?
Yes, Wakey.
February 22 expiration. Show you mark sensor on.
I got it. My doxy party that I ran.
Okay.
I think that may be a flying one, but I can't tell.
was annoying the missus. I wanted to. They didn't know what to watch on the boob tube, and they wanted to start another movie, and I can't take that much time to watch movies and everything. And so in the meantime, I started playing music videos.
788 Tripper.
And it started with goth music that I used to listen to.
Stop for 18, 3527, and car 120, 2516 Norton on a cardiac arrest, A3.
Which was bringing back memories for me.
2527,
And
2516
the missus is like,
Norton Avenue
oh,
on
I
a
can't
cardiac
stand this
arrest,
music. It's so
A3.
boring, blah, 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 blah. And then it went into like playing the Misfits and then seeing, and I started going, man, there is really an unlimited amount of music you can play on Halloween. It just goes on forever and ever. A lot of punk bands really got into like the dark side of things, and you know, naturally you had goth. It started with me wanting to play Bela Lugosi's Dead, and there's this video on YouTube of a live performance by Bauhaus from 2005 in what I believe it's Coachella. And I don't know how he did it, but Peter Murphy did the whole thing hanging by his feet like a bat. And he performed this song upside down. And it's a long song. I would have passed out, gotten dizzy, or would have been begging somebody to take me down long before that. I don't know if I can turn right here. Can I? You know, it's really hard to tell because they don't put... I'm going the wrong way. They really are terrible about their one-way signs. All right, cars are pointed this way, so I can go this way. They're awful about it. And they don't have a... They just figure, you know, I guess.
Starting mileage, 0.8.
We in Illinois or something? I always thought that Illinois was horrible about road signs. But can't go straight on Grand because they have it blocked off again. But that's okay. There's nothing going on here anyway. I've called it. I mean, this is a place for tourists. And, you know, tourists don't go to a place like Kansas City to party on Halloween. It's supposed to be a legendary place to go is Las Vegas, but I'm not too impressed by that either. We did a Halloween night on Fremont Street, and it was okay. I don't know. It just, there's some good costumes, but I'm just not that impressed. I think to sound like I'm too cool for school or anything, but
I was wondering that too, if possible.
Las Vegas is another one of those places that you go a couple of times. It's sort of entertaining, but it gets old really, really fast. And I don't think you can really find what you're looking for, because Las Vegas is really about the tease. You're not going to get any kind of satisfaction in the city like Las Vegas in anything. Everything there is set up to imply that you're going to get something big if you just throw some money at it. And all you do is throw all your money away and you don't get anything. And there are a lot of other places you could go that will just, you know, like, oh, you want a good or a service and you have some money, well, this is what it costs, and you know what you're getting into. And then, you know, I think the guy is peeing in that doorway. That sucks. case you wonder why. You walk around a lot of places in the urban environment smell like pee. Especially doorways.
Back to the city, 125.
But you know, Las Vegas is set up to imply that you're going to get lucky and to keep teasing you into spending those dollars. And you can take the meaning of that the way I'm saying it any way you want, but I mean just about everything in that town, it has many meanings on many different levels, but that's the ultimate philosophy of Las Vegas. And when you know that, then the town is just not fun anymore. Because, you know, there are other cities that are kind of like that too. In many ways, New York is like that. New York is a kind of place where you can walk around and enjoy looking at things and going on long walks and seeing stuff. But there's a lot of stuff, especially for tourists, that are just set up to really take your money. New Orleans is the same way. I've spent a great deal of time there's Mildred's. I spent a great deal of time this time around, this visit, complaining about how we essentially got taken in. That we intended to do one thing, but we thought, oh, we can go to New Orleans and do this, and ended up spending a lot of intended to and getting a lot less, and actually not doing as much as we wanted to because it put us out of position and out of time to do anything else. My wife and the kids spent a great deal of time in New Orleans sitting in the room watching TV. And that's not what I go to visit a place for. And it's all because we saw an advertised rate in a hotel in town and should have known better. And the advertised rate, it was a bait and switch. Oh no, we don't have that room, was the first thing. Then the second thing was, oh, by the way, it's $30 a night to park because we don't own our own parking. Well, really? That's $60 extra. And then then we told them right up front we had animals on the phone, and they never said anything about a pet fee, a non-refundable pet fee. That was $30 extra sometimes. So we ended up spending more for a hotel room than even New Orleans rates because they just kept, you know, and we were kind of trapped because we were just tired and. Yeah, what am I going this way for? Well, I know I was going this way. And again, you know, everything is all about the beer-fluenza epidemic and people making excuses. And, you know, if we had the Navion, we would have known what we were in for. We could have gotten an RV park on the outskirts, or you know, just spend a couple hours in New Orleans, and then spend the rest of the time going up the coast and things like that. That's what we really wanted to do. Instead of sitting in a New Orleans hotel room watching TV. I didn't do that. The missus did with the kids.
150 pounds, needs help getting up. South and Trenchard Drive, 150.
That's an interesting mural. Something I wouldn't see if I so busy talking to myself. I should check the pulse point again. Lift assist, I just heard that.
42, so 2020.
I think they said that somebody who's so overweight that they need help getting out of the...
27-862-1018.
They can't get out.
20, go ahead.
That would suck.
1-3, Edward George 9, Adam 9 Lincoln. Edward George 9, Adam 9 Lincoln. I'll be on a white Toyota Prius and an occupant.
I'm sorry, I have a taking here in Prairie View. You're Missouri, Edward George 9, Adam 9 Lincoln. Comes back to 2012 Toyota. Shalomad Alchemy out of Kansas City. 3017 York Street. Assist with lifting without delay, 83.
I think it's funny. Halloween and other days when women will dress to undress, they'll be very scantily clad, and I'm thinking about the professional women who work in the sex work trade, and what my thought was is that some of these women in Westport are undressed to impress, and the professional sex workers don't even dress that way, because they dress in a way that, well, like for instance, the women that we might pass walking the streets here, they are dressed for the weather, and it's 48 degrees outside, and they're going to be wearing scanty stuff. That's cold and miserable. And I wonder what those popo are doing over there.
Lauren, on a sick person, 84, medic 30, 7139. Lauren, a sick person, 84.
A sick person. Two popo usually isn't much with your lights on. It's responding to an argument or something like that. A whole bunch of police, and then them putting tape up is something to go, oh, I stumbled onto something that's unfortunate. Kansas City has scrambled their radio traffic, so you can't get it on a scanner anymore. And you know, I say that's very inconvenient for those of us that are making our living trying to follow, you know, catch the news as it happens or whatever. But then I think, you know, there are times when I hear the police say something on the radio that everybody can hear, and they know everybody can hear it, and it's just a violation of somebody's privacy. Like, and what I'm talking about specifically are times when they are talking about like a reporting party that wants to talk to the police, and here's their number, and they'll give the full name, person's full name and phone number over the air.
Number 6, respond for carbon monoxide. 413 North Geronimo Drive, past Cedar Fifth Street North on Salisbury Road, quadrant 54, District 6 at 135.
So as inconvenient as it is for me personally, I hope that the answer will be
Intrusion alarm. 2235 Taney at Northtown Auto Clinic. It covers overhead door number 9.
something similar to Pulse Point, where there's an shooting and the address, and not many more details than that. Respond to and just show it on a map and a little bit of detail.
Intrusion alarm covers overhead door number 9 at 136.
Because it's starting to get cold. It's a Sunday night, Monday morning, and although I found something interesting, a lot of the sex workers tend to come out at about 3 in the morning and into the dawn and in the morning. And I'm like, it's weird. Why would they? And I guess it kind of makes sense, maybe, now that I think about it, that if people are looking for that, they come out after the bars are shut down, and so maybe that's the wisdom behind that. You can say it as wisdom.
Number 6 respond.
Number 6 responding for carbon monoxide, 413 North Geronimo Drive. Caller stated the audible alarm is going off for carbon monoxide. Everyone has evacuated the house. Cross Cedar Fifth Street North and Salisbury Road. 66 and 138.
Number 10 on T.
Number 10 on 28.
I believe some people would have the attitude of like, what the police do is nobody's business. And that's where I disagree. I believe that what they do is in the public domain and is everybody's business and should be overseen by the public at large, news media and anybody else. I believe that the police should operate completely in the open in everything they do, with the exception of things that would like screw up an investigation or would violate people's privacy. A lot of activity that the police are involved in, you can't just say, well, people deserve their privacy, blah blah blah. And it's because it's like, whatever is happening on the street is not private. Everybody can see it. If you can walk past it, then it's not a private thing. So it might be embarrassing to you, just like the feeling you get when you get pulled over in your car, how embarrassing it is. You're sitting there in your car and everybody's looking at you with the police with the lights going behind you.
610 to 636.
Even if you've done nothing wrong, just mere fact that you're on a public street, you can expect that. You can't expect privacy in that situation. So I don't think that it's an inconvenience. It's embarrassing, but it's not something that's going to kill you or really violate your rights. Versus the public's need to know.
St. Luke's, Perry Road.
And I think these are very classic free speech arguments. The public does need to know what their police force is up to. Because by the very nature of the business of policing, the things that are necessary to do if police have so much power and can alter a person's life drastically by their actions, then we all should know about it, especially if police are using their power inappropriately. And that's just human nature. That's so easy to do. I'm not saying anything negative about police. Saying that by our human nature we do things.
To respond for medical 4007 South Cedar Crest Circle. Number 2, respond for medical 4007 South Cedar Crest Circle 415.
So the more open it is, the better, within reason. So I think that if we are going to take the thing where people can check on what's going on. There are some times when the police are doing things and the radio traffic, you hear way too much, and you're wondering, man, if I were up to no good, I could have a radio scanner and I could basically get good intelligence from the police themselves. So yeah, I think that something like Pulse Point, like something that just has like a pin on a map and it says an assault or a shooting, something that we can go check out in real time and and do our job, which is a very important job. But not something that gives away actual actionable intelligence to the wrong people, or gives away people's private information.
645 to 28 west side London.
I remember there were a couple of times I could hear Vice Squad traffic, and you could hear them talking in real time and saying, okay, we got one over here at this place. He looks like he's getting ready to make his move. All right, move, and they go and bust a John, which is usually what Vice do. They have
Number 2, responding for medical 4007 South Cedar Crest Circle, 65-year-old male, approximately 260 pounds, saying that he has fallen off the sofa, also dehydrated, cross streets of Cedar Crest Drive, quadrant 145, district 2 at 144.
Let's see, I'd rather go this way than the other way. They have women set up as say decoys, and not decoy, they're pretending to be prostitutes. Usually it's women, but not always. And then the men will approach them, and I forget what it is that you have to do to make it to where they can arrest you. Start negotiating, and what's illegal is when she offers her goods and you offer her money, then they come in and say, all right, you're under arrest for solicitation, which is a misdemeanor, I believe. And actually, so is prostitution. Isn't that strange? Women who sell those services will get arrested and will usually be out in less than a day and back on the streets. And I don't have any easy answers for it. It's a very tricky question. It's one of those things, it's always there, it's always going to be there. Nobody's ever really been able to make a dent in it. Oftentimes, the prostitutes, we've done stories where we talk to prostitutes, and they will say that oftentimes the whole system is set up to make them into victims, meaning that there's really no help offered for them, and all a lot of police do is make it harder for them to make a living, and there aren't that many services to help them get out of the life if they want it.
I copy.
I'm not going to that truck stop tonight. This is where I need to go. I'm not used to going this way. And, they bust the guys for solicitation and the Johns, and other than a little bit of shame and any of that, there's really not much that now there's I've met some people who think that John should be executed, like sent to the gas chamber for, and I'm like, it is just so complicated. I would not even go there. I would not judge. I don't think you should do that extreme. There are a lot of people, I've been one of the people that propose that we should maybe legalize it everywhere and regulate it. But that's tricky too.
8-149.
43.
Go ahead.
4 Adam 3, 2 Boy 2, Frank 7, Boy Edward 0, 10098.
The truck driving with his brights on. Alright, I'm really not in the mood to drive a million miles tonight, so
We're in Kansas, 492 2011 Mitsubishi.
go back around and hang out in Westport for a while.
Check 8, Missouri,
Watch the crazy people.
John.
1 Henry Adam, Henry 20. 1 Henry Adam, Henry 20, showing Missouri 21.
Whoops. Beep, 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 beep.
Kansas City.
The car is saying, hey, drive like you're sober.
Copy, thanks.
Is this a tour bus? maybe it's somebody's camper. Yes, my camper costs more than your house.
7-1 will be out for daytime.
I've got a built-in jacuzzi,
Copy destination. Be
washer and dryer.
advised. Transfer going on.
If I had an RV like that, I probably would figure out a way to park it somewhere, and it would be my house. You know, like these tour buses kind of deal. Although, as a house, it would be pretty cramped living. You know, like a tiny house. A $500,000 it's hard because I worked Sunday, Halloween, from 5 to 1. Went home, took a nap, got up, went trick-or-treating with the chillin', tried to go back to bed, couldn't sleep, and went back to work. But I had Friday off, so it's not like I've really lost anything. I would drink coffee. The coffee makes me number 2. And sometimes that can be really, really, really inconvenient. So I got tea instead. I don't know if there's any better. I think I'll have my tea. It's sugar-free sweet tea. Which Trip Quick always seems to be out of. And did I get the sugar-free?
7 pound. George Frankfurt. Beaver 7 pound. Be on a black Chevy Impala.
Yeah, 0 calorie. Tastes different. Tastes sweeter.
Advised, 13 near Missouri, George Frankfurt. The 7 Sam connected 2010 Chevy to reach expiration on
124 trucks.
24 dash.
7 second per view is the gas station parking lot.
For whatever reason, if I drink coffee, the bathroom better not be far away. If I drink tea, I'm okay. Maybe there's not a lot of caffeine in this tea. But I've always heard that tea has more caffeine in it than caffeine.
2013 Chevy Taylor Jackie ABM out of Kansas City, April 2021 expiration on.
North Kansas City.
Basic walk-horse. Set a red SUV. Same license plate.
Of course, 154.
Chevy 33. Ask for channel 1 for refuel.
155.
I don't know why I'm wanting to go to Chessport. There's nowhere to park down there. It's too busy. The next big busy day will be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. which for me will actually be Thursday morning. And I tend to live stream Thursday mornings because it is the hump day night. But
This was a large construction dumpster.
we did a story on that.
Fire is
My-
out. It will continue steam for a little bit. There's one.
Former place of employment
Correct address will be 9900 right behind that.
where I learned something. That Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the busiest night of the year for bars, and it's called Blackout Wednesday. And the reason it's busy is because all the college students come home and they hit the bars the night before Thanksgiving. The family, you know, the uncle who insists that everybody know his political point of view, whether they want to hear it or not.
I'm happy to comment during the scene out service for 156.
Yeah, I have members of my family who are like that. One of them happens to be an uncle. And when they get together, it's fun to watch a brothers fight. Because one is like a diehard Trump supporter, and one is like an organizer for the Democratic Party and liberaler than thou.
Spelling attaboy, Ida, Edward, Mary, first name Jack.
And anytime they get together, it's
Two initials, they Adam, K. King, female black.
It's fun.
1987, 0101, 1987, 0101, Larry.
one time we were staying at his apartment, at his condo, and they were shouting, and the dog we had at the time, you could tell how she was feeling inside by the position of her ears. And we woke up and looked over at our dog, and her ears were completely down and her eyes were really big. Because the people in the kitchen area were shouting like they were about ready to kill each other. And me and my wife were sitting there laughing and giggling so much. Oh my God.
Social is 371-2975-36.
Everything is shut down here.
Thank you, 47. Out of CCD.
Mm-hmm.
8168 will be out with you, so.
And she returns for both Noah.
This traffic light is managing to hold up everybody, not letting anybody through. They must have heard me.
Entering the city, 470 in front, 35 in front, longitude.
Yeah, even that bar over there is closed. It's like nothing.
Traffic.
Although it is 2 in the morning, I don't know when bars close. I think they close at 3 in a lot of places, but maybe here they close at 2, which bar time means they start actually closing at 1:30. I started doing that, and I started keeping a bar clock in the house to fool myself into being early everywhere, because I'm terrible about being late. And it got so you don't even really know what time it is. You know, it doesn't work to set the clock ahead 15 minutes because you just say to yourself, I set my clock ahead 15 minutes. And then you realize the clock you're looking at is the one clock in the house you didn't set ahead, and you're actually Gallagher always said about people who are always speeding everywhere. He said, you know, or maybe it was Carlin. You know, the answer to that problem is leave the house 15 minutes earlier. Into downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Is this Heart of America Bridge? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cars yelling at me saying, hey, you mean to do that, or are you driving like you're drunk? They call this dog park up here River Market Dog Park. But the Jefferson Highway actually goes right next to it. So I think they should call it the Jefferson Highway Dog Park. But I'm thinking that they should take every chance they could get to put the Jefferson Highway into things so that people will go, Jefferson Highway, what's that? And be interested, want to visit. But I think that way most other people don't. Apparently. I mean, I think that anything that people might be interested in should take advantage of it and generate interest and tourism dollars and things like that. But some people will be like, well, Jefferson Highway, what is that? Who cares? That's so long ago. It's, you know, it's a lot like Route 66 or a Lincoln Highway.
Stop provided service. 204.
And let's go up Welladare. Here in the River Key. I think everything is pretty much shut down here. So it's kind of it's not a late night spot. I think these days too many people live around here that really want bars slumping all night long. This is interesting. Somebody's dragging some bags down the middle of the road or something. would say, how do you stay awake all night long? Well, this is my job, and I've had lots of practice. And my sleep schedule is set up for it now, and this really does go quick. Sometimes too quick. And if I get a call, like a fire or worse,
high seal readings were traced to a bad furnace flue.
then there's not enough time to do what you really want to do.
Restriction service 206.
But
0420.
I'm starting to feel it because I didn't get regular sleep. Mondays are usually rough for me anyway, because the turnaround from the weekend, I can't get to sleep on Sunday night. But especially after I worked yesterday morning.
25, 204, that's going to be around 207. 24, alarm is going to cover south computer left, south call motion, and south entry motion.
On Broadway.
Along with the north hall.
Bed check.
Bed check.
Please, go ahead.
Cosby was white male, blue hoodie.
I believe a bed check is when they see somebody walking and decide to ask them to show some ID. That's the scanner. That's not a real siren. Oh, one of my pet peeves is sound effects in music that either makes you want to pull over and check your car out because you think there's something wrong with your car, or realistic sounding sirens and things like that, where you're driving along and you're like, what, where, and then you realize it's in the song. You're like, damn it.
Mary Ida, Charles Henry, Adam, Edward Lincoln, initially Adam, at White, 2004, 1020.
But I've had songs that like have
20, Missouri, verbal information.
weird noise in them, and I'm like, where's that noise coming from? So you turn down the radio to listen to the noise that you think your car is making, and then the noise disappears when you turn the radio down, and you're like, damn it, why are they doing that?
KU at 210. We're trying to do no harm plan of permit card only, expiration February 2022. Norm.
Okay.
I'm wondering what the if it's today or tomorrow.
Upper 16 quarters.
I'm wondering where I need to go here. But like I was saying, whether it's today or tomorrow, the Day of the Dead celebrations, which are tremendous. They're better than Halloween. They're lively, they're beautiful,
211.
they're interesting, there's stuff to see, lots of people, and food everywhere. Plus, the kids love it. It's better than Halloween for them because everybody's giving out candy. Which I don't love that part. Kids have enough candy. The eldest, Zach, was being very mercenary about it. Like he's very competitive. And they rang a doorbell, and there was this old lady who was very happy to see the kids, but she wasn't prepared for Halloween, so she didn't have any candy. So the kids were leaving. We said, tell her thank you. And Zach was like, well, why? She didn't have any candy. Like, Zach.
A4.
It's not about candy. And he kept like keeping score, who has the best candy and this and that. And I'm like, Zach, get over that. And Suyan was about ready to ground him, to send him home, which would have been upsetting. I'm like, it's not about candy. It's about enjoying yourself and seeing your neighbors and walking around dressed up in a costume. Don't feel so entitled. Good Lord. I think I was the same way when I was a kid.
8 minutes route. Do you want to go fly home?
Then on that 1055 call,
10:55.
is it right that he does not have his ID? Is it possible that one of you has it, or can you recall what
I was drunk
his
driver.
ID with his cell phone? How's that?
This drunk driver has lost his ass, and he was wondering if any of you had anything to do with that.
Be clear. Your call's going to be ER, Hall 10, going to Redwood, going to attendance 0416. 36-year-old male, no summit.
Having. G247. All units 10-8 with report, arrest, and 5 citations. Thank you, 214. Good job.
The other day I was watching something, and it occurred to me there was a like radio chat traffic from a police officer, and the police officer said, I need all available units to come over to blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, that doesn't happen. The dispatcher would be the one to say, I need available units to go here, there, whatever. Not the individual officers. The individual officer might say, might call in a dispatcher and will say, may I have an officer or two go down this street, or like the other day at Lake Como, I said there was an officer who called into the dispatcher and said they were looking for a suspect and they needed to set up a perimeter for about 3 blocks from this street to that street. And dispatcher said, okay, and then set it up, but an individual officer does not take that kind of command on the scene. Now, the sergeants and lieutenants and things like that will come in and will set things up, but even they won't. You know, they'll let the dispatcher know, because the dispatcher is the one that needs to allocate their resources. And just like I couldn't say, I need all the photographers to go do this or that, I have to call into the desk and let them know what's going on, and then they make the call. Usually they don't, they make the call with the producers, and the executive producers actually make the call. Because I see the little picture, they see the big picture. And that's the way it should be. And I see somebody who's just put their car in reverse. Where are they going? They're parking somehow in a bad spot. They're actually blocking traffic.
Alarm on the east side entrance.
But, you know, on TV they gotta make everything dramatic. Just like in the 90s, early 2000s, you saw like people driving a live truck, reporting from the passenger seat of the live truck. You're not doing live television. You might be doing the phoner, but nowadays it's possible because we have TVUs, broadband units that can.
I am now. You got that shut it down.
Yep, nowhere to park. Lots of popo, which is good. That's a great thing. Got a parade. Alright, crazy intersection time. Maybe I'll regret coming down here. I can always park behind that truck there. I figure something crazy is going to happen. This is the spot.
It looks like he's leaving out. I got the other at the Walgreens.
Insurance service.
And the conundrum is that if something crazy were to happen, they usually some sort of violence involved. I hope to not have any of that, and I don't want to be part of that. I need to be close by to something so that I can be there, but I don't want to be too close in, you know. Oh, you're a great photographer, you should want to be there and catch it all on camera and blah blah. Like, yeah, but you know, the problem with bullets is that they don't care who you are, and they fly until something stops them. And I don't want to be that thing that stops them. It's not worth it.
46 Marion Street, Henry Card. To keep in contact.
So I would prefer to not be too close. At least not on purpose.
Copy.
You know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Who is it that I'm contacting?
It is not worth
Shize,
my life or safety.
Big white red truck.
There's a spot there. And everything becomes so serious.
Do you want to be out on the vehicle stop? '92 the Casey's. Missouri tag, Charles Tom 0, Union 8 Young, on a 2 or white
I believe these are Westport security
92 Casey's. Okay, 1050 out with me.
with the flashlights. I don't know why I'm driving like somebody's up my butt because there's nobody there. Now, if this were a...
They're down across the entire intersection and road.
Oh, where's that at? If this were a normal night... There's more Westport security. Somebody must have gotten their car broken into or something around here. If this were a normal night, like a normal Halloween night, I mean, it's still down from the beerfluenza epidemic. This whole area would be full of, there would be no parking all the way, that lot would be full.
25.
Bound south of 4th, Missouri, Victor Frank 5, William 8 Henry, Victor Frank 5, William 8 Henry. Be on a gray Ford, and an occupant. 90 minutes.
I was gonna say there's an SUV in the middle of the road. There's the police. What is going on? What are we looking for?
To Lawrence Shepherd, Kansas City, October 2021.
There's parking here. Must not be a normal situation for there to be parking here. Let's turn off our lights and act like we're not here.
That they're not going to come out until the electric company is done So once they're done, we can call.
It must be close to last call.
Copy, the electric company's on scene now. We need to shut down a couple intersections.
Lift assist, lift assist.
3972, DB anywhere? Yeah, there's minimal traffic currently, so I'll speak with the power company, see what all they need.
Checking pulse point here. Nope.
Copy. Copy. 229.
Now the police or Westport Security are directing people to stay off that street. I don't know what they're looking for. Almost looks like they're looking for shell casings.
Service 1.
I got 230. Have a walk-in short breath to your station. Come up on A4.
Number 2, en route to the station. In the service area, en route to the station.
Now they're putting up some sort of barrier.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna have 1 Kansas tag and 4 Missouri tags whenever you're ready.
Go ahead.
First Kansas 442 King X. First King Edward X-ray. 442 King Edward X-ray.
1 Ford Focus to Sean Miller out of Troy. Expiration 2018. No one. Just a moment. Lincoln, Union 76. 3 Paul Adam, Union 76. 3 Paul Adam, Union 76 from the back. Stolen or missing 1 of 2 plates out of Kansas City from June. It's on a file for dealer.
Copy, 5th direction, sir.
No direction of travel at this point. It's possibly occupied by approximately 3 18 to 20-year-old males.
I'll be in the area.
$2021, no one.
$643.
So,
Sorry, that license at 35 just ran. What's it supposed to be on? I'd heard it came back 1 of 2 stolen, but what's the vehicle is registered to?
it doesn't come back with the registration. Entry doesn't say what type of vehicle.
Yeah. 43 to 21, you still down at 15th in Burlington?
I am.
Okay, I did on your LPR about 2.5 minutes ago, somewhere down there.
Copy there. That's 150 the Turner corner by me. I'll see if I can find it.
The picture is inconclusive, so I can't tell you if that was it or not, but could be.
All right, that police car is blocking the intersection now.
After I was with 35 rounds.
They were east on 15th. I didn't see it after that. It's probably like an 85 up on 15th.
Did you see it on 15th or Burlington or somewhere else?
On 15th. I'm guessing maybe an employee for the tire company on 14th and Clay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I am David, King 69, Adam David, 861, Reserve 23.
An 81 Ford to Subbrain Terra out of Kansas City, January 23.
And what vehicle that came back to?
Are you asking what the stolen came back to?
I just didn't come back on.
Came back on an 81 Ford F-150.
That's it.
Wait,
Let me check the weight. I'm going to be at the temp stop on the Missouri tag, Robert George 7, Mary 7 Paul, Robert George 7, Mary 7 Paul, on a jet black BMW, occupied unknown. What's up?
yeah, 2020 BMW 300 to Shala, East Elm, East Elm on August 22nd, tag 19.
Copy, I got another plate when ready.
Go ahead.
Same location. Victor David 4, William 18. Victor David 4, William 18. Gonna be on a charcoal gray Volkswagen. Occupied 2 times.
In fact, 109 Volkswagen Jetta to Tammy now. Probably Summit on October 21 tag 17. Littleton, Colorado for larceny. Also PMP. For possession, 2 offenses.
All
The
right.
Missouri DOR shows revoked.
I don't know what it is. Police tape has gone up.
Right, copy. Does Colorado have any extradition? Maybe 5 minutes before the truck.
Time to do my job. I guess. But it's nothing.